And there we go. No, look, Corey, just as I go live, Corey's going to ask me questions. Just like, bow, just throw it at me, rapid fire. No, I don't believe so. Hope not. No, there's not enough time. Good evening. Welcome. It is the 1010, right? 1010, October 10th. This is the edition of, I was going to say Morning Mindset again, man. No, it's Tuesday with Todd. And this is a great one. Why? Because once a month, we bring in marketing expert Bob, and he is going to talk to us today about Calendar. So get your questions in. This one really fascinates me, and I'm going to be fly on the wall. I'm going to sit, listen, ask questions. I need you guys to ask questions as well. But, hey, when you get in here, check in. Let me know that you're here, right? That you can see me, that you can hear me. Everything is amazing there. If you want to let us know where you're from, what's in your cup, that you're more than welcome to. That's usually a morning thing. We'll check in with people as they come in. So, like I said, get your questions in. We'll get this ball moving really quick. So, Darren, good afternoon to you, my friend. T-Town, how is it going over there? Yeah, I am over here in YouTube land. Yeah. YouTube land is doing well. 55, rainy, little cold over there. Monster Hydro is my drink of choice right now. I went from a orange Celsius to a white Monster. It is sunny and chilly here, so it's deceiving out there. What's up, Chuck? Good afternoon to you. Evening, afternoon, depending where you are. Renee, greetings from Chicagoland. Water in the bottle. FU, Facebook user. Hey, Facebook and Streamer don't always play nice. When that happens, you become FU. Now, the way to stop that is head over to, let me hit the little link button right there. You head to fatdadlive.com. That'll get you right over into YouTube land. When you're there, like, subscribe, and then we'll be able to see who you are. We wives have great timing. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. All good there in YouTube land. All right. So I say, without further ado, let's just get right into it. We'll bring Bob in here. We'll let him introduce himself if you haven't been here before. But we do this the second. We do this the second one of the month is what we're doing. Next month is going to be the first because we're going to be out of the town. But we'll talk about all that. But let's bring Bob in here and welcome to the stage. There's Bob. Bob, hey, how are you doing? Let me see if I can fix this a little. There we
Woo!
are. Now we're in
Big
here.
Bob.
There you are. Yeah, we got little Bob, big Bob. Now right in here. How's it going today, Bob?
Man, things are great. We're rocking and rolling, and wow, what a day! You were talking about your day, and we were talking a little bit before. Yeah, it's fun. You're just kicking along, and it's that time of year, right, where we're all just kind of crazy busy. Maybe we're a little burned out if we had a busy summer season, getting ready to head into our hectic fall and holiday seasons. So no better time to talk about how to optimize by using a calendar. So
absolutely,
I'm excited about being here, and I saw some friendly faces already. So this is exciting.
I love it. What I love is, as business owners, the word fun can have so many different meanings, and it's the way that we emphasize the fun part. Like, that was fun. Oh yeah, that was fun. It's like, that's definitely a word that we will use a lot here in the coming months because we know going here in, we're in the fourth quarter now, right? This is when a lot of places, it's make or break it time. You're very scheduled hectic. That's what we are just talking about, behind the scenes, because with us being gone 2 weeks next month, that's 2 weeks right there before Thanksgiving. So we're going to be gone in the midst of it. So trying to get everything on that calendar scheduled right, everything knowing where it needs to go, and so I can't think of a better timing for this, to talk calendar. So Bob, what are you going to tell us about? What are you going to talk about? How can we improve? Give us a little idea, on calendars and how they work in our business, and most importantly, how when you get into marketing with you, how calendars can advance your business. And I really feel that having things like that are going to save you money, and I know you're going to talk about that. So I can't wait to hear what it is.
Yeah. So I heard this. I was part of another group and picked up this topic, and it's live in your calendar, not in your inbox. And that is so powerful. If you can just wrap your mind around that title, you will ex you'll begin to grow your business so fast. How many, Todd, you're always great at this. How many people leave a one in the comments or say something. How many of you, your schedule is dictated by your inbox right now? You've got something that comes in and it's like another fire you've got to put out, and you're just constantly just running and gunning. How many are living in that life?
Let's go 1 if you live by your inbox, 2 if you never check it. I'm kind of a 3 right now, where I check it at times. I've got somebody says how my day work out. I have to do blocks of time. Now, that doesn't mean if an email doesn't come in I'm looking for that I'm waiting until my email time to go back if there's an open line of communications. What means to me is I'm checking my emails in the morning and I'm checking them in the afternoon, maybe at night or maybe afternoon, but for sure at night before I'm done, making sure if I've got anything there set for the next day. But I'm not in there all day making sure inbox 0. That's not me. I'm not that guy. If you're not, my number one priority is things coming through the website, the quotes, everything through there, orders, questions that are being asked through that, and then email, falls to the backside. And that's why when people message me through Facebook, message me through Instagram, message me through email, and anything to do with an order, I'm like, you got to go put it in through the website, even if it's just requesting a quote, doing whatever, because I can't get it lost here, especially this time of year. I just can't do it. So, I one where always email. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't. I was so unproductive because I was constantly in there, constantly checking one thing because one led to another, and it just wasn't. It didn't make sense to me, and so when I switched to cutting that back, our productivity increased because we weren't tied to that email. So it's a great thing for that.
And I think you describe a lot of how a lot of us operate. And I'm always completely candid with everybody. I do a hybrid of both because we're a small operation and we have basically 2 companies operating in one. We have Fresh Horizons Marketing, which is our digital side, which is where all of these conversations come from. And then we have a production side where we're making cool stuff for clients too. So it's a constant battle. The cool part though is that when you start to prioritize either the blocks of time that you put in your calendar or the appointments that get booked in your calendar, you then start to be able to say, okay, I'm going to plow through all these emails in 10 or 15 minutes, and you're more productive there than when you, than when you're just constantly checking it because you're like, oh, I've got to go do this for the Jones, or I've got to go do this for the college or whatever. And all of a sudden you look down and you're like, crap, how did an hour go by? Or how's it lunchtime already or whatever? So the concept here is super simple. It is either block out time or schedule appointments, depending on how your business operates. Those of you that have worked with me outside of that we have an additional relationship, that every single time you communicate with me, I'm like, hey, grab a time on my calendar that's best for you. And I don't have a problem topping in with people, but that way I know what I've got coming, and it allows me to prepare so I can give you my best. I don't know, everybody's business is different. For me, most of the time somebody kind of catches the people that are walking in the front door, so I don't deal with that much anymore. But that will really throw you off. Somebody comes in the front door and they're like, "Hey, I want to talk about this or whatever," and all of a sudden you spend a half hour talking with them, and you're like, "Crap, I was already behind before I started this conversation."
Oh.
Especially when we're busy.
Mhm.
So when you're operating like that and somebody walks in, it gives you the power to say, "Hey, I have to do this. Can we grab a time to talk more about it?"
Yeah.
And you may feel like you're going to miss that opportunity, and there might be some that you do, but by being able to be purposeful with your time, you will do a better job, and you will get greater results, as opposed to playing the a constant game of ping pong every time you're working your business.
Yeah. And I that you brought up a good point about, the storefront having somebody come in for it, because that was a thing that, I don't think the majority of people who take this from, the hobby to the spare bedroom to taking over half the house, then they're like, I need to get a storefront, realize is that how much those customers that walk through the door steal your time. And, a lot of it can be where, they are going to do something. It is going to be an income producing activity, but a lot of times it's not. It's just general conversation. And I
Yep.
really got hit over the head with that by having a mall location, because it was, just the mall walkers just coming in to chit chat. And you had to try and really press hard to be like, hey, I need to get this done. And then a lot of times they would still continue to talk to you to carry on their conversation, because that's what they wanted to do. And so it became a real problem for us. And that's where, having Corey there, I'm like, here, you just take care of the people that come on up front, just to leave me alone. And it didn't mean that in a bad way. It was, I need to get stuff done. And I think, in that aspect of it, a lot of people, when they start off, they don't realize that you're tied to that store, from those hours, from the time you say you're going to be open to the time you say you're going to be closed, because people expect you to be there. Because the minute you decide to take off that hour for lunch, that's their hour for lunch, and they expected you to be there. So,
Yep.
they that whole other side of, is a storefront right for me? I think I need to do a whole show on that. Is a storefront right for me? Because there's a lot of things that they just don't consider until you're in there. They,
Yep.
between the customers, and then my second biggest one was having that retail was just the cost of hangers. Like, hangers were expensive, and I didn't realize, I didn't have that accounted for, and that really hurt the wallet. But yeah, same thing with this. When you look at, if you don't have a storefront, well, this doesn't pertain to me. Well, you do, because online, your customers that are coming through the door, that's your email, right? If we can say, here's how to compare it, your email is your customers. Those are ones coming through the door. You have the spam ones that, oh, great, here's another one of these that I'm not going to open. You have the real ones where people are asking questions. And then you have the ones that, hey, they're getting back to you, dropping stuff off, setting up times and appointments that way. So, that's how you kind of got to look at that, from my standpoint of whether you have an online location versus a retail location. But I could go off on a tangent for hours on that one. So
Yeah.
let's keep it back on track here, Bob.
Yeah, well, we're the same way. So we're an office. We have a little bit of a showroom in kind of what would be the normal like waiting room area of our office. So we don't have a lot of stuff on display. We have some stuff on the walls, and we have one small hang rack for some different apparel. But and we don't, like with our stores, and that we try very, very hard to not open it to pickups. Now we have a school that is a quarter mile away from us that we do stuff for. They know where we are, and they're like, "Come on, you have to, you have to do this." So we do that, and it's been good that way, because we've picked up a lot of other business because we've been able to have those conversations. But I will tell whoever's in the office, like, I'm busy working on this. I am not going to come up and answer it. You guys need to figure it out. If it's really really important, and I can break away. Otherwise, I will. Otherwise, here's my calendar link. Tell them to book, because I just can't. I've got calls, scheduled out all the time, and sometimes even if you don't have calls back to back to back, you need time to plan for the next few things.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of what we have to do as business owners is to go from being the doer to the planner, and it's very, very tough, especially if you're in that mode of like, I got to get it done. It's like, nope, we have to put systems in place so that we can grow. Otherwise, we burn out. You guys, have you guys heard those stats where most businesses fail within like the first 5 to 7 years, depending on who you listen to?
Yep.
An interesting part of that stat is that it's not, a lot of them fail or close. It's they say fail, but it's a lot of them close not because they ran out of funding, which is what everybody, the stats always want to make it sound like. It's actually they ran out of personal drive because they got burned out,
Mm-hmm.
because they never figured out how to manage their time, because they're used to, working a job where Todd said, all right, hey Bob, go make that 100 shirts, or go call these prospects, or whatever. And so you just did that.
Yeah.
And when you start a company and you've got all of the roles thrown at you at one time, and you don't begin to put systems and processes in place to manage that, you will burn out. And that's why so many companies fail, is not because of lack of funding. Yes, there's certainly that, but a lot of it is they run out of personal equity, if you will. They run out of I'm a big guy, right? So there's more of me to go around. That's what my wife, I tell my wife, but she doesn't always find that funny either, by the way. But the thing of it is that we have to prioritize our time, and then use that time productively, like you mentioned, for income producing activities or growth things. How are what are we doing now to plan for Q1 of 24? How are we going to finish November and December? What are we doing? What's the plan? And sometimes you have to use your calendar as if it's not on the calendar, it doesn't exist. I think we've probably heard those quotes in those movies and those commercials, that if it's not in Salesforce, or if it's not in in the CRM, it doesn't exist. And sometimes that's how we have to be, because and when you get good at that, you can hand off a lot of the stuff to an assistant, or to another person in your office, or even a VA. You can hire a VA for a couple bucks an hour to just keep up with your emails, and say, okay, hey Bob, I need you to review these. This client looks like this is an important thing, or whatever. It's a cheap investment, and it's a force multiplier that allows you to stay focused on the things that are important to growing your business. So, kind of looking at some of the comments, it looks like it's kind of split. There's some people that are living on a schedule, and there are some that are like, hey, I need to work on this. I love having just open conversations. T-Town T-shirts has, I see the comment there. It's like, my schedule is very important. I've got that pretty good. But the T-shirt side's a little bit different. So let me ask you this, T-Town. What do you think you could do to improve the T-shirt side? What you've already learned on the other side, how could you apply that to the T-shirt side?
Yeah. Now, T-Town, he's got the apparel side, and he's got the tint side. Yep. And on his tint side has TintWiz, which has, I think, if I remember right, it is CRM, and has a lot of great functions in there. And I think I've had conversations with him before about it. Was how can you use that same system or be able to apply that over there? Because if it's working great here, I mean, that you can see that having a great CRM, having that great tools here really helps the business. Then that having those same things on this side would help the apparel side of it too.
Yeah. And T-Town, I remembered you from the previous times I've been on. And I love your hustle, man. I love what you're doing. I understand what you were meaning by being the tint side first. You look at every big operation, companies that, that are doing hundreds or I should say thousands of shirts a day to tens of thousands of shirts a day. There's a process, there's a schedule, there's everything. And my guess is that in his example, he's probably got a very dialed in process for doing the tinting, because that's you map out the amount of time that it's going to take for that. But that's how we have to be with our businesses. If we have, if we're getting a lot of walk-ins, okay, great. Because a lot of businesses, that's how they operate. There's a place near us that probably, I'd say 30 to 40% of their business, they're $1 million plus a year operation, and they're probably 30 to 40% of their business is walk-in. But what they've done is they have developed a process that schedules that stuff out so that the person that walks in and says, hey, I need 2 t-shirts for whatever, they have a process that they follow for it, and it doesn't throw off everything else. So that's something to think about too, is as much as we're talking about calendars here, is also not so much like calendars for meetings, but calendars for scheduling things out, right? If you're a multi-process operation, whether you're a one-man band or maybe you've got a team, is how are you scheduling those jobs? How are you scheduling the different processes, right? So if you're doing laser engraving and sublimation and DTF or screen or whatever it is you're doing, are you prioritizing certain processes at certain times of the day if you're small and you're covering them all, or are you doing it day by day? You need to think about that. And instead of just jumping from thing that's like, okay, this came in the door, now I got to go do this and I got to go do this. It's like, let's do this process. Let's do then do the next process. And you'll find that you get more efficient. Your mind can only handle so many switches a day. And if you're constantly doing it, you will burn yourself out way faster than if you okay, from 8 a.m. to 2, we're doing DTF, and from 2 to 3, we're doing laser or whatever. However you do that, it will really, really help you focus on the things that are working well for the business, find the things that aren't, and then figure out ways to strategize on it. And operating off of a calendar, even if it's a calendar that's written on a whiteboard in your production room.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing that, like, when I look at especially going into this last quarter, is what's your scheduled day for your last cutoff? Like, okay, if some process takes longer, are you still saying that December 7th is your cutoff for everything, or is there stuff that takes longer, so it needs to be before this? So when you can look at a glance and be like, okay, I know that December 3rd is the cutoff for this, December 7th is this, December 12th is this. And I know a lot of people have, they're still doing stuff up until Christmas Eve, which is fine. We do that for local stuff, but as far as stuff when they need it by here, no rush fees are going to be accounted for this. If you want it from this time to this time, it's this rush fee. This time to this time is this rush fee. Just that schedule of time of charges of when it's going to be. We can look at a store and know, hey, if a typical store is going to take 7 to 10 days to process complete and get things out to them, all right, well, now how am I scheduling these stores on stuff? Because I'm not going to have them all close on the same date, because I don't want to have all this done at the same date. And so, it's more than just that. Even we ran into this yesterday, because we're on Tuesday. We ran into this yesterday. Here it's Columbus Day. Half of our schools here were off. The other half were in school. So there was confusion of, okay, who has school and who doesn't. We ran into that with the crossing guard. We sent her a message and be like, hey, you working today? She goes, it's Columbus Day. Of course not. And we're like, school's in. And so she didn't even realize it because she thought that we had off. So, there's reasons that calendars are there, and they will help keep you in that, keep you on track. And I seen something that, Jerry posted here, which I thought this was good, because this is something that I'll tell you what we do. Is their thing is scheduling for the unexpected. Absolutely. What we try and do is you have the end of day. I don't like scheduling anything at the end of the day. For us, for our business, I am very lightly scheduled on Fridays. And the reason being is so that way I can get everything that I need to have done by Thursday. And then Fridays, what fires do I need to put out from the week? What openings do I have that I can fill for next week? That's kind of the day that if we're going to schedule meetings or go out to lunch things, that seems to be the best day to do it for us, because I schedule it light on those days where I'm just doing, by 10 o'clock in the morning, Anything that is same day print, that's the things for the brush. But then after that, okay, light afternoon, whatever it needs to be done, because I work heavy on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday cut back a little, Friday cut back a lot to allow that time for it. And even before, when we would still have an hour or two at the end of the day where it was like, it's basically cleanup time. Like, okay, what do I need to clean up for the day? Do I need to clean up emails? Is there jobs? We would just have that as a cleanup hour. It was basically 2 hours at the end of the day of here's what cleanup means to us. All right. Do we have extra orders that need to get done today? Is there, orders that need to be processed? Is there things that need to be ordered? Is there emails that need to be gone through? Is there quotes that need to be gone? Do I need to work on the website? What do I need to do? And I just schedule that time. Now, does it need to be 2 hours? No. Could it be an hour, half hour, 15 minutes? Whatever you feel you need, but just you keep it on your schedule and just know, yep, this is what we're going to do with it.
Yeah, 100%. And Jerry, I'll back up what Todd was saying with that. I learned of this concept from my doctor. I was in for an appointment, and I asked my doctor, I said, how many people do you see a day? I mean, she was running pretty frantic, and she's like, she told me this number, and I'm like, wow, how do you do that? And she's like, well, we just run a very, very tight schedule. I said, well, what about people that, are really sick and they need to see a doctor right away? She's like, well, we schedule in times for those types of appointments. So we can either flex an appointment a little bit if they, if they need to be in at 11 or something like that, we might be able to flex an appointment and push it into that category that might be open at 2. Or we'll take that slot at 2, and that's where we put in those emergency appointments. And that's I kind of took that back, and I was like, hey, that would work for what we do too, where it's like, hey, this is a hot button issue. We've got to resolve it. One of the things I run into quite a bit is people that are like, hey, we need to make a change on in our CRM or on our website. And if it's something that either myself or one of my team members needs to handle direct, it's like, okay, we've got all these other projects going on, but taking care of the customer is still number one. So how do we do that? And we started to take just little blocks of time, usually one in the morning, one in the afternoon, and saying, okay, this will be like for those pressing needs. How do we, we can flex some of that in, and because oftentimes it's not a big deal. Those are not usually like, hey, I need to have a website built. That's not how that goes. It's like, hey, here's an error or here's something like that, and we're able to flex that in and get that resolved. So that's how we've been implementing what I learned from my doctor. And it was interesting to hear that other, these other professions deal with that too. So that's I wanted to kind of share that with Jerry, because emergencies happen, but they don't have to be an emergency in your world if you've already planned for it a little bit. What's that phrase, Todd, from the contracting world? Your failure to plan does not equal an emergency in my world.
Yeah, your failure to plan does not constitute an emergency on my end, and it's so true with it. Like, for us when we're looking at stuff, scheduling in calendars, people, I think they just need a calendar and it's a date. What does it mean there? And for us, it's more of what information can I put in there to help me better our business? On our calendar, even though it's something that we just know now, is we order Monday, Wednesday, Friday. It was, stuff that comes in from the weekend gets ordered on Monday. If the call for it, because if we don't hit that minimum shipping on Wednesday, we're not going to order, because the time that we have scheduled out, 7 to 10 business days, it allows us that flex to place orders when we need to. But we have that scheduled. We know our cutoff times of when things need to be ordered. So that, that is a big thing, because how a rush order, if you don't pay attention to your cutoff times and now you just put yourself behind because you didn't meet that time, knowing when those times are for things, knowing how long things will take to get to you. I see that so much on our end where people assume that, hey, just because we got something out in 2 or 3 days before, that it's going to happen every time. And just because UPS got you something in 2 days when you're normally a 3 days, that it's always going to be that way. So then they place an order thinking, oh, I'm going to order here on Tuesday because I should have it by Friday. Well, we're 3 days out on this. UPS is now 3 days out. You don't get it till next week and you're pissed. Hey, You know that if you need it by a certain day, I tell people, do the rush fees, do the overnight fees, do whatever you need to do to make sure you have it by your date. Because if you're just hoping that, yep, it's going to happen with this production, it's going to happen with this shipping, you're just screwing yourself, and that's what the first thing we look at. Okay, what's the order? Oh, no, you put 3 to 5 day production. You put 3 to 5 day shipping. So right off the bat, that's 6 days. That means if you order today, that technically you probably won't have it until next Wednesday. Now, do we try to get things faster? Absolutely. But you didn't anticipate, we need it by Friday, so we should order this. So, you got to start looking at calendars more than just a date and more of when you're planning to do stuff. Blocks of time, dates, when you're going to do it, and then things will go. And it doesn't always have to be so, here hard set in stone. It can be very flexible, and that's where having that flex schedule comes in handy. Like for us on the sublimation side of it, we don't do a whole lot of it, but I'm not going to, set up the press and not do it all at the same time. So sublimation on Thursdays. This is what we're going to do. What's everything that is pressed at this time, temp, pressure? All that stuff is batched together. All this is here. You spend that time planning for it. So when it comes down to the production part of it, if we look at our business, and the production is probably the quickest thing, right? When you look at what it actually is to do it, it's all the planning that goes into it. It's setting up artwork, it's printing transfers, it's ordering transfers, it's ordering that. When it comes to pressing shirts or pressing, ornaments, pressing anything like that, that's relatively quick. It's like, oh, all right, I planned for all of this just for that. It's no different than when you look at somebody, planning for a race, planning for, pick anything, pick a marathon. They train all year for that marathon. So they run, thousands of miles for that 26 miles, and that's what we need to look at our business is you're planning more than you're working on the business because you want to, you want your time to produce revenue. And the way to do that is proper planning.
Yeah, 100%. There's a fantastic book out there. It's an older book now, but it's a great book. It's a book called E-Myth by Michael Gerber. It's EMYTH by Michael Gerber. If a lot of people have heard of it.
I thought I had it right here, but I don't. It's upstairs on my other bookshelf.
Yeah. For those of you that haven't read that book, it's an easy to read book, and he really talks a lot about systems and just operating like that. One of the things that I do every day is when I first come into the office while all the computers are firing up and everything, I sit down at my desk and literally just piece of paper, take 10 minutes and write down all the things that need to get done before I look at my inbox or anything. We all kind of have that mental list in our head of things that we need to do. And I literally write them all down, and it is so satisfying throughout the day to cross those off. And then if there's something that's not crossed off, that and maybe it needed to be done, that you can focus on it and get it done. But I have a block in my calendar, the first 10 to 15 minutes that I'm in every day. That's what I do. And it helps to set the day. And it also is it's a motivator as well. I'm a results driven person.
Mm-hmm.
So I like to see things being achieved and getting knocked off my list and move through my calendar as well. So if you're like that, start a list, take the time to I call it do a brain dump. Write down all the things that you need to make sure are done. Maybe it's order transfers, or you got to order, you got to place your order with Sandmar, or maybe you have to get an email campaign written, or you need to do something. Put that all on your list and then achieve it. And as you get better at scheduling times in your calendar and following along with that, you will be amazed at how much more productive you're able to be during that day.
Yeah. Let's see, where was it? Alex from Newport there said bourbon in the cup that kind of week, and it's only Tuesday, so I don't see an issue with that. Bob reaches into the magic, then pulls out some bourbon from there. I don't have anything close. I can say that's probably a good thing.
I'm working from my back porch, so it's there's cigars and bourbon just floating around in the ether behind me here.
I don't see a problem with that at all. I should do that. I did completely off topic, but I did make some spiced rum. Apparently, when the girls were in Tennessee or Nashville, they found some mix that you just add rum to, and it's supposed to make a spiced rum. So we'll see how that's going to play out. But That's fair. But he says, "Oh, what are your work hours in a day? From what to what?" So basically, I'm in the office between 5 and 6 in the morning, and then I leave between 4 and 6. Usually 6 are on the later of at the beginning of the week, and then by the end of the week, I'm trying to be done. Like literally anymore, I'm trying to be done on Fridays by noon. But usually I get in here, and that first thing from the time I get in until 8, that's when I'm going through emails. That's when I'm setting up my day. That's when I'm trying to anything that I need to put in a queue to order. I'm just kind of setting up the day for there. Emails are kind of the big thing. Facebook messages, emails. I already said emails. Instagram messages, anything, really like that. And then from 8 to 9 is when I do content creation. So that's when, I'll do morning mindset. That's when I'm setting up posts for the week for Facebook, Instagram, wherever, setting up stuff for YouTube. I spend an hour a day on that. And then from 9 to 2 is production. So whether that's DTF transfers, whether that's HTV transfers, whether that's white toner transfers, whether that's pressing shirts, whatever that is, that's what it is, from that 9 to 2. And then from 2 to 4 is kind of our shipping, because, we want to make sure we have everything out. So it's making sure packaging, shipping, making sure everything is done for then. And the reason that I kind of set these times is because that's when we do a lot of, picking up the kids, taking the kids to school. I have to have the kids to school, by 8 in the morning. So, all right, I'm working right up until 7:30, take them to school, come back, start on the next task. 2 o'clock, so we'll work right up until we have to take the kids to pick the kids up. So that's 2:25, 2:30, and it's setting everything we need to do. So when we get back from then, taking it out from there. And then once that's set out there, that 4 to 6, that's my flex time. So is there emails that I need to go back and answer? Is there messages I need to do? Is there still artwork I need to get done? So I start the day, emails, end the day, flex time. That's how mine is set up. And then somebody else asked in here, let's see, where was it? It was about there. Oh, Renee asked, for those that have blocks of time, you stop no matter where you're at a project you're working on when it's time to move on to the next schedule item. Yes. When I'm done with this, I go on here. Here's my production. Now, the times that doesn't happen is when there's rush jobs, because that's where it's there, and that's where that flux time is in there. Can I come back to it? Because what I found is if I didn't stop then on the things that I have already had scheduled, everything now gets pushed back further. The things that I had scheduled get pushed back. The things behind that get pushed back. The things behind that get pushed back. Whereas if I know from this time to this time I have this to do it, and especially if it's not a rush job. Now, we all have our times, 7 to 10, 3 to 5, whatever your production time is for that. Why stress about more of that, by trying to do more here and pushing off those other things? Stop from here, get up. The other thing is I'm fat and lazy. So it forces me to get up and to go do something else instead of just sitting here. Get up and go do that. Get up and go over there and stand or sit at a different desk or do whatever. But that's kind of how my schedule for the day, and I really stick to those time blocks. There's times that you go over or under, but very rarely do I try and have to do more, because I found that when I do that, everything else just gets pushed back farther and farther. Now, there's times that we'll work longer because things need to get done. We're coming into that now with stores that people want to open next month for things. So it's going over proofs of things, going over products, going over, just because the product's in stock now doesn't mean it's going to be in stock next month. So if there's anything less than 200 pieces of a size, we're just not offering it. And it's fine. It's doing all that research now. So when it comes back to next month, but that is how we do it over there for it. And I think there. Anything else that you see in the comments you wanted to bring up?
Yeah, I don't know if Jerry saw it. I think you dropped a link to the book in your in there. Yep. But Jerry, just so you hear it again, that book is E-Myth by Michael Gerber.
Yeah,
and Todd's dropped a link to it there as well. Great book. I recommend it to everybody I ever get the opportunity to talk business with. I almost always recommend that book. It's not the end all be all, but it's sure a great foundation.
Yeah, and that's like I said with a lot of this, you're going to take bits and pieces from everything that you read, everything that you watch, everything that you hear, because what works for Bob's business, Bob's over there, right? Yeah, Bob's right there. Bob's on this side. So what works on Bob's business may not work in yours. What works in mine may not work in yours, but you're going to find what works. The biggest thing that I can tell you is just do it, right? Mike said it, how many years ago? That's all you got to do is just do it. Quit thinking, oh, I need to try this, or I really need to do this, and quit feeling overwhelmed. Just take one thing at a time. That one step. That's all it is. You got to think. This may sound bad, but you weren't always a failure, right? There's people that feel like they fail at everything they do, but you're constantly learning. You're learning what didn't work and not do it again. If you gave up, as a baby, you would be a slug. You'd just be laying there. But guess what? You fell and you got up and just kept going. As kids, we are the biggest, the biggest drain on people when we think about it, because as a kid, we thought we could do anything, go anywhere. And it wasn't until the adults telling us, no, stop, don't do that. Right. And that's where we're like, oh, I don't know how I became afraid of heights, but I did. When I was a kid, I look back, I'm like, dude, we climbed trees, we climbed on houses, we climbed on roofs, and we did it. It didn't bother me. Like, at what point did it? Oh, it was when they told me to stop doing it. So I quit doing it. And then I did it as I get older. I'm like, whoa, I don't know about this, So
yeah,
you just got to get out there and do it.
I can tell you how I became afraid of heights. The first time I fell down and dented the ground, I was like, oh, this is not good.
Okay, that would be it. I didn't realize it. I found out I was afraid of heights again when I went to House on the Rock and went out in the Affinity Room, and the thing was bouncing, and I'm like, done. What is going on? Why the hell is that happening? Because I'm like, no, I'm not afraid of heights. Like, what
we did that. We did that earlier this summer, and one of the couples with us, she was very afraid of that, and I'm a big guy, right?
So
Yep. I let her get out there about 3/4 of the way. I started moving up and down, and the whole thing's flexing. She wanted to kill me. Anyway, we're way off topic. So let me bring this piece into it too. So we've talked about, hey, we need to prioritize our time. But what do we prioritize? Because everything seems like it's important, right?
Right.
Well, so here's how you prioritize it. And I apologize if you can hear my dog barking in the background there. The way we prioritize it is we have to have our goals and our vision for where we want our life. And I'm saying this, our life, not our business, our life, where we want to be with that. And then everything else gets prioritized based on that. So if your priority in life is to be the best dad you can possibly be, then everything else gets prioritized off of that. If your goal is to make $1 million in a month, then everything gets prioritized around that. And that is how you take control of your business. Because if you don't control your business will control you. Can anybody relate to that?
Yes.
If you can't relate to that, you're either doing a very, very good job of living off of your priorities, or you're just not growing your business fast enough.
100% agree with that. 100% agree with that.
So when you start to embrace this process, focus on what you want. If you're up getting close to retirement, well, map out what retirement looks like. What do you want to be able to do, or what do you have to do, or what is it that you're just going to do? And then that is what you prioritize. If you're a young gun and you're like, hey, I'm, like I said, you're going to make $1 million a month, and there are people that do. There are people that make $1 million a day, right, and more. So what are we prioritizing? Do that, and then everything else falls in place beyond that. Because if it's not driving you towards that goal, then it shouldn't be a priority in your calendar. And one of the first things that we have to do is, I've seen everybody in here talking about production. That's awesome. But if we master that and we don't master doing the part that drives more business in the door, then we're not going to have a business. We have to, even if you're a one-man band, you have to take time to focus on growing and focusing on how to build the business better. Even if your plan is to just be a one-man band forever, and that's fine. There's, the whole concept of a laptop lifestyle comes from that idea, but you have to decide what it is you want, what and how, and then the how comes. Right. And then you can say, okay, well, if you're a spiritual person and it's, God, family, business, great, then prioritize it like that. If you're not, you've got different values, then follow those. But that's how you maximize your calendar. That's how you achieve your dreams and your goals. People, people that are super successful, that is how they live all the time. You will hear them all talk about how they operate with their calendar, and then they take and they will the low hanging fruit in their calendar, or the easiest to delegate type things. They'll hire a VA to handle all of that stuff. And that could be a whole nother show just to talk about the use of VAs. But I have a couple of them. They are absolutely fantastic. I couldn't operate the way we do without them, you know. And it's cool when you find a couple of good ones. Your business can literally work around the clock, you know. And it's right now in the world that we're living in now, it's cheap. You know, it's a cheap way to multiply your time and stay focused on your goals that are impacting your calendar, that are impacting the way your business operates.
Yeah. And, you know, that's one of the things that, you know, we haven't pushed it a whole lot, but, you know, that's one of the things when you sign up with Better with Marketing, that you're going to learn some of these tools that are going to help you, you know, understand how calendars work, understand how to get that time back, understand what VAs are and how to use them. So, you know, this is all part of, you know, the grand, you know, the overview of it. But, you know, these are tools and things that we can help you with. And that's where, you know, each month we're going to bring a little more to you on, you know, the different things that you can do in your business. And guess what? You don't have the time for it. We're talking calendars and schedules. You're going to schedule that time for it. That's what you need to do, is schedule that time for working on your business, and even scheduling that time for things that you're going to want to do. I mean, think, you know, like we have the mom calendar on our fridge, and it's all the things that are going on for the month. You know, it's Corey's Christmas present every year. She gets a new mom calendar, you know, and here's the, you know, what time the kids get out of school. What's this? You know, that's you've done that your whole life, scheduling things that way. You schedule doctor's appointments, you schedule eye appointments, you schedule, you know, going to date night, you schedule all that. So why are you doing that same thing in your business? Once you start thinking of that, things start to click for you. I don't know where
those, Todd, just to interject, what are those things that you just listed off?
Priorities. Those are things, you know, those are things that you're going to get.
Those are important to your life, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And
so that's the same thing with your business. What's important to your business? What are those things that are going to that you either need to get done or you need to hand off, that are going to help you get your business to the goal that you've established?
Yep. One of the things that I, you know, when it came to calendars and schedules, that I was thinking is that I heard this the other day, and I don't know where I heard it. I wish I did, but it kind of went along this, like Bob, let me ask you something. So what time, how many hours of sleep do you want to have every night?
8.
So you want to have 8 hours sleep. What time do you set your alarm to get up in the morning?
You guys are going to laugh at this. If I do the dishes in our house, right? Okay. So I either do the dishes the night before, or if I know I didn't because I was tired or whatever, just didn't want to deal with it, I either get up at 5:30 or I get up at 6, depending on if I have to do the dishes.
Okay. So you either get up at 5:30 or 6. So does that mean that we should assume that you also have an alarm set for 9:30 or 10 to go to bed?
Yeah, I actually do. I have an alert on my, it's like bedtime reminder.
Yep. And that's the thing is, you know, where me, I try to, you know, 4 to 6 hours of sleep a night. You know, that's what I have. I don't have any alarm set where I'm like, yep, it's time to stop. No, that next show of Netflix looks good, so I'm going to sit and watch that. That's the thing is, if you want that priority of good sleep, what are you going to do? You're going to create that time. You set the time to get up. Why wouldn't you set the time to go to bed? Why wouldn't you set that reminder for it? You know, and that's creating that good habit of it. If you want something, create a habit for it. How does that work? Okay. Set time. You know you need to get up and go to work. How do you do that? You set an alarm to get up. Well, if I want sleep, what do I need to do? I need to set an alarm to do that. If I want to work on the business, I need to set an alarm. So 2:00, yep, it's time to work on the business. So, you know, when you start thinking of just your life in general and how you run it and how you do it, think of your business the same way. You know, set alarms, set reminders, set times to do stuff, prioritize. And that's where The calendar as a whole is more than just dates on a piece of paper. And you can, when you start looking at it that way, it changes everything. And here's right here, Jerry said, schedule everything. Yep, schedule everything.
Yep.
Now, here, Facebook user. So I don't know if it's still Alex or not, or someone else. But Bob, why don't you explain what is a VA?
Yeah, so it stands for virtual assistant. And in today's world, that means two different things. But what I was referring to in that conversation was a person that you can hire that oftentimes lives in another country, and they work remote for you. So like I said, I have a couple of them. My primary guy that I would be lost if something happened to him. His name is Miguel. He lives in Venezuela. And I hand off all kinds of stuff to him all day long. Today he helped. He's got a graphic design background, and is also knowledgeable with our marketing platform. So today he was tasked with making a PowerPoint for an AI presentation I'm giving here in a couple of weeks. He helped redesign a patch for a police department that we're working with. He's worked on several of our web stores. He helped a client. He helped with a client's website in the marketing system. So he's very, very well versed. We're fortunate to have somebody like him. But you can hire people specifically for certain tasks. A good VA, you're going to invest anywhere from, depending on how detailed you're getting with the level of knowledge that you need to have, between $5 and $10 an hour. Now, if you need somebody that's like really great at coding, or you've got some very, very specific thing, you may spend a little bit more. You may spend upwards of $20 an hour. But understand, in the U.S., that would be $100,000 to $130,000 a year position that you're hiring for.
Yeah.
These people, my experience, I've got Miguel in Venezuela that I work with, Tim in Kenya, Alex in the Philippines. All of them have a work ethic like something that we would have that our grandparents would have talked about. Their desire to get things done and to work is unlike anything we've experienced before, or that we're used to experiencing here. I often hear businesses complaining about the lack of work ethic from their employees and that. And when you hire a VA, it's amazing. So that's one. The other is now in the last, where are we at here with this? The last 10 to 11 months, with the advent of artificial intelligence, we now have VAs that are able to be completely virtual. In our marketing system, you can now deploy a conversation bot that'll answer questions. Like if somebody texts our company, the bot will pick it up and run it and it's geared now towards driving people to book an appointment. Go figure. But it'll answer people's general questions and get very, very detailed. It's amazing how this system works. Again, like our missed call text back feature that's available in there. You can be operating your embroidery machine or running a press or whatever. You miss a call and the system will automatically send somebody a text, and either, you can pick up that conversation then, or you can, AI will start to jump in, and be able to answer those things for you in your place. This is how we multiply our efforts as a small business. We utilize technology, and I say the human VAs, that's technology too, right? Because that wasn't something that was commonly available. It was available 10 years ago, but it wasn't commonly used. Now, everybody that's really successful has at least one. It's amazing. Miguel, as an example, I'll share this story because I think this stuff's important. When we hire somebody for our business, we understand that we're making a difference in somebody's life, whether it's a high school kid or a full-time employee or whatever. We know that, yep, we're hiring them to do a job, but at the end of the day, we're making an impact in their life. And when you hire somebody that's outside of this country and you're paying them, those hours, you are making a huge impact in their life. Miguel is the example here. I asked him one day, I said, Miguel, why do you work for me? I said, you have a degree. He has a degree in mechanical engineering. He's a very, very smart person. And he's like, Robert, I make more working for you than if I did using my degree in my country.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was just like mind blowing,
It's crazy.
And he's like he's the best employee. I've owned businesses, as you guys have heard in previous conversations. I've owned businesses my entire adult life. He is by far the best person next to my wife that has ever worked for me.
No, in fact, I think I just saw a picture of you, of a young Robert that was on a business paper back in. Oh, and that was, I'm like, hey, I know that guy. Look at that.
Yeah.
Been doing this a while.
Yeah. So if you guys are, and I'm happy, there's still room on my friends list on Facebook. Hop in, friend me. Happy to be friends with everybody. But yeah, my senior year of high school, I was featured on the front page of the local, the Rockford, Illinois paper. I was on the front page of the business section for owning a company, being in network marketing, going to school, and having a job as a bank teller. And then just this past weekend, my cousin up in northern Wisconsin was out doing some antiquing and found the paper, and there I was on that. So that got brought back to the surface. But yeah, been doing stuff for quite a while.
I just looked at my calendar up here, and I think, since we could go on and on for VAs, I think we make that January's topic. What do you say about that? We can how VAs, especially in our system, and how they would work, how everything plays in, and how to get the most out of them. So I have on our calendar here for November, we're talking social media, December, reputation management, and now January, virtual assistants. So that's what we have coming up on there, because here we're coming up here, to wrapping this up. So Bob, at the end of the day, when somebody signs up with us, what should they expect, when it comes to calendars? I don't know what I'm doing. How are you going to help me understand a calendar and make my business better and my life better?
Yeah, great question. And I promise before I get off, I will answer a couple of these questions.
Perfect. We'll get that, and then we'll go right into questions. Yeah.
Perfect. So here, when you sign up with Fresh Horizons Marketing and the iteration that we've put together with Todd, sorry, Todd, I forgot the name right there. I apologize. Better with Marketing. I apologize. So when you sign up with Better with Marketing, you get an entire CRM and suite of tools. One of the major parts of that is the calendar feature. It's as powerful or more powerful than any other system out there, like Calendly or whatever. And so the number one thing that we'll do right out of the gate is we'll help you, if you want it, we'll help you to connect it with like a Google Calendar, or just as a standalone calendar. And then create, like, if you go to here, can I share my screen real quick?
Yeah, go for it. Does it give you the option there at the bottom, right?
Yep. Share screen. Don't show these tips again. Okay, we're going to click that. I don't know what I did, but here we go. Entire screen. Sure. So don't look at all the weird stuff on my tabs. All right. So right here, we'll help you to create this. This is my booking calendar. And it operates right through the CRM. So if somebody books in with this, and then how do I stop share?
There you
go. And so if I, there we go. So if somebody books in with me, it'll automatically show up in the CRM, and then all the other automations that can happen. So here's how I use my calendar all the time is I have a if somebody I can do it through a text on my phone, and basically if somebody wants the details on this, message me and I'll record a Loom video on how to do this and send it to you. But basically, I create a shortcut in my phone that says all of this. It says, "Hey, grab a time that's best for you in my calendar," and then it has my calendar link. And all I have to do is type BKN. That's what I set it up as in my phone. And it automatically sends that entire message out. So people then know to choose a time that's best for them, not what's best for me, best for them. They schedule it in. If it's open in my calendar, that means it's okay for me. And then we do that. But along with that, it'll have a whole series of follow-ups. I have a very, very, very low no-show rate. Like it's almost unheard of, or people will message me, hours in advance and say, "Hey, I can't make it. Something's come up." It's rare that I have somebody book in with me and then no show, which is a complete waste of time, right?
Right.
So our system will, the system through, excuse me, the system with Better with Marketing will send out like a 24-hour, a 4-hour, or 6-hour, 4-hour. Todd, you've done this. How many do you get? It's obscene.
It's 4, because I think you get it right up until like the hour before that it's there, and it gives you plenty of time where if you want to reschedule in that you can go in there and do that, and you don't even have to talk to Bob. If it comes up there that hey, it's been rescheduled, he gets notified that it's been rescheduled, and it goes on to that next slot. So It works out really slick, and we're scheduling things. You might think on your side, what do I need that for? I'm not selling a service, but you are, right? When you're wanting somebody, to schedule up for, pick your favorite thing to do in your business. Like for us now, we see that we are finding the benefit for us to do more stores with people. And this is something that, Bob and I talked about 2 years ago, like how can we build out something on this and figure that out? And now where that system may not be great for this, it may be great for that, but regardless, I need to set up a time to know, hey, pick a time to go on here, schedule this up so we can talk about this. We get that with people on DTF printers where it's like this, and they'll send messages in that and be like, hey, for a free consult, click this one, so you have the different ones that you can set up where, you want to do a free consult, 15 minutes, sure, great for this. You want to set up for a business appointment? Yep, let's block it on an hour and we can set up for this because, your time is valuable. And when you can tell people, hey, a free consult, 15 minutes is this. You want to schedule an hour consult, it's $100. Oh, guess what? They're going to get everything they need in those 15 minutes and get out of there because otherwise they'll drag it on, and they don't mean to. It's just in general conversation. That's what we do is we carry a conversation on. So if we don't have that set time block of that, then say, okay, we're coming up like this. We're coming up to our end. We figured out what calendars are. Now we'll let Bob have the final word and get right into the Q&A. So if you have questions, go ahead, put those in there now, and we'll let Bob answer those for you. What did you give us a final word on this, Bob? Yeah, let us know.
So the powerful features with the calendar system that we have baked into Better with Marketing is that ability to automate a lot of that stuff. Mm-hmm. So one of the I'll give two kind of use cases here. A great way to waste your time is to ask somebody what's good for them. And then you're going to go back and forth and you're going to spend, at least 15 minutes if they're a fast response, or maybe hours or days trying to get something put on the calendar. Where if you just have a calendar link and you send it to them and say, hey, grab a time that's best for you, they're going to choose that. You don't have to go back and forth. That's a huge time saver. The other is a lot of us here build stores for people. There's a lot of questions that go into building a store out for somebody, no matter what platform you're using. Schedule those times with those clients. The clients will appreciate it. If you say, hey, yep, happy to do this. Let's grab a time on my calendar and we'll talk about this. And then you book in a half hour or an hour and you go through that entire setup process with them. You get all the questions answered, the whole thing. And then our system It'll send. You'll get you as the person hosting the meeting will get a form that says fill this out with the notes, and then it'll send you fill it in real quick, and it'll send a recap to the client of everything that you talked about. It's awesome. So that's like a specific use case of how to use a calendar from a production standpoint for building out stores is send your calendar link to your prospect or your customer, have them schedule a time, and then take that half hour or hour, however much time you give them, and just focus in on them, and you'll be surprised at how much they appreciate that, as opposed to the quick fast thing that we're trying to do because we're juggling all these other things. They'll really appreciate that. So I'll close with that, and then let's jump into these into the Q&A here.
Yeah, and I was to say why we go through and give me ones you want to go through, on that where you can build that out. Let's say, like the stores, what we're looking at is can we create that basic informational that they're going to need, like here's what kind of stores one, here's typically how it was, here's basically all the FAQs that we get asked, and we're going to put that in a form for them. And then when they're doing that, hey, if you schedule a call with us here, now you can do it. They've got the information, they got a good understanding of it, schedule the call, get the information, and then you can just close it. They're already ready to buy. Like most of the time when somebody calls you, you're going to have those objections to overcome. But for the most part, when somebody schedules a call, they're calling you with reason. They want to spend money, or they want to get knowledge from you. That's what they want, something from you. So, having that option for them to, just do it right now, it definitely increases your close rate on things. So what do we see over here for question wise?
There was, let's see here. Facebook user asked, how did you find your VA, and how do you compensate him? So we found him through an agency. There's a lot of different VA agencies out there. We found him through one, and we negotiated a rate with them. Obviously, you're not, when you're used to paying, $20-$30 an hour for the same type of service, you don't have to negotiate very hard. But but it's $7, and he's had a couple of raises, so he's now at 7. He'll probably go to 8 here in the next couple of months. But we just we talked and said, well, what's a fair rate? This was one of our first times doing this. What's a fair rate? And they kind of walked us through that, and I said, well, that sounds great. And so we pay the agency, and then they pay him. So I actually don't know. Miguel is not allowed. None of the VAs, because they all come from the same agency. None of them are allowed to tell me how much they actually make. Yeah. So I don't know if he's getting half of that, or a tenth of it, or 90%. I have no idea, but I know that
something up to that. That's what he knows. And this is, keep the question, especially coming on the VA side of it, because this will be good things that we'll address it in January, on ways to find it, ways to do it. Because, I think a lot of the misunderstanding is like when you say, hey, we pay him, between $5 and $10. It's just you $5. Okay, so that means I got to make sure that, I'm giving 40 hours of work to him, because, I'm spending $200 for that. Well, that's not necessarily how it works. It could be an hour project where, hey, they're only working an hour today. So that's what it is. So there's different ways to set it up. And come January, we'll talk about all those different ones.
Thanks for kind of driving me back on that one. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries on it. T-Down says, what's a good schedule is best? What a good scheduler is best someone can use that is free. To me, what we got started with was Google. I mean, the Google Calendar, that one is a pretty robust one, and a lot of us are already using it. So you're using it in your Gmail, you're using it on your phone. You can tie it to a lot of things. So I that's the one that if you're looking for a good basic calendar that is going to allow you to schedule up time slots, then I think the Google is the way to go. What about you, Bob? Anyone that you can think of?
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. And then as you outgrow the capabilities of that plugs into a lot of the other platforms, whether it's our platform or any of the others. Google integrates really, really well with a lot of platforms. So I think ours is the best. and I am biased on that, so take that for whatever it is. But
Yep, I am too.
again, I've used a lot of them. Right,
Yeah.
I've been on HubSpot. I've used Zoho. I have not used Salesforce because I've never had that kind of money. But
Well, and that's the thing, some of these ones that I'm seeing, you're spending, 4 figures a month on some of this stuff. And it's like, do
easy.
I need all of that? And that's why when you start trying to piece things together, you're like, do I need that? Am I going to use all of that? But I don't want that. Do I want, so you go back and forth with things on what exactly, is it right? Is it right for you? And that's why, Bob was so generous to be able to say, hey, we can do, just an a la carte plan. If you just want a calendar, I think you can get the calendar, it's, $150 a month. But, for not much more than that, you can get everything. There's a ton more that you can get for, under $300 a month. And all the things in there. I mean, think if you're able to use your scheduling, your calendar to set up a call and close one more appointment, to do one more store, that's a $5,000 store. I mean, it's a no-brainer to spend $300 a month. So,
Yeah.
so don't look at it as, wow, $300 a month. Look at it as, what can I get back from that 300? Can that 300 be a 3,000? Absolutely. And so you
100%.
start looking at it that way.
With what you're talking about there, there's a couple of features there that absolutely generate revenue off of it.
Mm-hmm.
One is the calendar, because it integrates with the CRM, so everything else you can maximize that. But there's two others that are super powerful. One is the missed call text back feature. If your average sale is $500 and you miss, say, 4 calls a month, let's just say you're amazing in answering the phone,
Mm-hmm.
right? You miss 4 calls a month and you have a 25% success close ratio. That's $500 a month back in your pocket for a $300 a month investment.
Yeah.
That's that's just like a crazy example, right?
Mm-hmm.
Of how effective that tool is. And now the conversation, the conversation AI that's baked into the system now, and that may actually be going up. There's a rollout that's coming here in the next, I believe it's the next 30 days, that may make that right now it's free and it's included in every system, but that actually may be going up. It may become an add-on that'll add $50 to $60 a month to every plan. So the conversation AI, the ability to have an automatic assistant that's answering a lot of the minutia for you and driving those people that aren't minutia towards booking into your calendar. I mean, those 3 things alone, it will generate revenue for your business, whether it's capturing stuff that's missing or just better utilizing your time so you can focus on growth. I mean, you can't do more for less.
Right. Well, I think right there, one of the things that you said is, better utilizing your time. When you start realizing that your time is valuable, and that, let's just say that you just, you don't think you're that valuable, and you're only, at $20 an hour, right? Well, is this going to save me 15 hours a month? Absolutely, it is. The things that it can do besides, just the calendar thing. How much time you get back? Like for us, our shop rate is $125 an hour. It means as long as this, saves us 3 hours a month, it's worth it, because that getting that time back, and there's so many more pieces to it, and that's why each month we're just hitting on a different part of it. And as I said, next month we're talking social media management through it. I mean, that's that right there, where you can see what you can.
You guys don't want to miss that one. There's something there that I haven't even told Todd about yet, that you don't want to miss that. That one, I'm gonna blow your mind, and we're gonna do something really, really cool on that one. It's gonna be awesome.
And I'm going to double verify that one is going to be on the 7th. November 7th is going to be our next one when we do this. And we're talking social media management. December is we're going the reputation manager, and now January we're talking VA. So Bob, hey, I love having you. I love doing these. These are so much fun to go over and do. And I think we're bringing a lot of value to people, and hopefully we're able to spark some ideas on how people can change their business, some things that they can do, to free up their time, to prioritize their time. For me, it was getting, back that family time. It was That's why I got in business, was not to work for the man and then come home and have to work for myself again. I wanted to be able to spend time with my family and do the things that we wanted to do. And getting a schedule in place definitely helped that out. So Bob, really appreciate you being here for us. And if you need anything, here, go to betterwithmarketing.com and schedule a call with Bob. He'll be happy to jump on that with you. Bob, any
100%.
final words for people?
Nope. I love coming in and sharing with you guys. I love the feedback. Great, just an awesome group to come in and help. If you guys have any questions, don't hesitate to friend me on Facebook, and or go through betterwithmarketing.com. Whatever's best for you guys. I truly want to help. I truly want to see everyone on here grow their business and achieve the goals and dreams that you guys have. So appreciate spending some time with you guys, and don't miss next month. I've got something that is amazing. You're gonna love it. So next month.
All right, Bob, I'm going to put you in the green room. I'll come back to you when I close out of this. All right. So thanks for joining us. We'll get you out of here, Bob. All right. What you guys think? Think about calendars, man. Like, think outside the box on this stuff. All right. We'll be back here tomorrow morning mindset. We do that every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. Thursday, there will be a DTF bundle drop. That one's going to be a Thanksgiving one. So that'll be 2 o'clock from 2 to 2:15. You'll want to show up there. Everybody but T-Town show up because he's not winning for a third time. He probably will win. Let's just call it now. If he wins now, he's going to go get that Powerball, and he's going to give me $2 million of it. That's all I need, $2 million, and I can have $80,000 to $100,000 a year. So we're good with that. All right, you guys have an amazing day. We'll be back here, like I said, tomorrow morning. Next week, we'll figure out what we're gonna talk about. I think it might be store related. We're gonna do that, and then next November 7th, we're gonna talk social media. So we'll see you guys next time. Peace, love, press on. You guys have an amazing night. Hit the button. I hit the button and it didn't even work. That's amazing. This is what I love. This is why you love doing lives. When I tell you to go ahead and do them, all you can do is screw stuff up, and it's going to happen. That's all you have to do. It's okay. Peace, love, press on. See you guys next time.